evening, Papua New Guinea, and welcome to another episode of Business PNG for the year 2015. The Bank of Papua New Guinea has launched a national payment system, the Kina Automated Transfer System. The system is a payment instrument for transferring funds or transacting and clearing funds between the financial institutions and the central bank. The traditional forms of banking with their brick-and-mortar branch-type operations are being made redundant with the introduction of this new national payment system. And it has been a long time coming, with the development of the CAT system beginning in 2008. But what exactly is the Kina Automated Transfer System, and why do we need such a system?
Well, the CAT system is really a computer system that sits between the banks. So it allows all banks to submit payments into the central system, which then sorts them and sends them back out to the right bank.
The new national payment system, the Kina Automated Transfer System, or CAT, is now fully functional. The payment system is an instrument that allows for transferring funds and includes a country's entire matrix of institutional and infrastructure arrangements and processes for initiating and transferring monetary claims.
Well, it just allows the security of payments, and it allows payments to be processed faster. So previously the banks used to have to get together several times a day and physically exchange documents, checks and things. Now those can be submitted with the new payments from this month, the direct credit payments. They can be submitted even through internet banking, and they can be settled that same day and in the recipient's bank account either the same day or the next day, with no need for banks to come together and exchange anything. It all comes through the CAT system and then out to the relevant banks.
The Kina Automated Transfer System will process interbank electronic payments on two levels. Firstly, in real-time gross settlement, or RTGS, which is for high-priority, high-value payments, and secondly, in automated clearinghouse for lower-value, lower-priority payments. In between the years of 2008 and 2009, the Bank of PNG initiated the review of the existing national payment system, which was carried out with the assistance of global systems and security consultants, the Knowledge Group, which culminated in the launch of the NPS development program in the latter part of 2009. Since then, the central bank has led the introduction and completion of, firstly, the National Payment System Act, which provides a modern and world-leading legal framework to the concrete developments the bank has undertaken and are planning to undertake in terms of payment systems. Secondly, the development and implementation of the Kina Automated Transfer System.
Banks offer their internet banking websites, and those all have very strong security around them. And the connection from each bank back through to the CAT system is a very secure link and secure network that's been put in place through telecom. So it's designed so that the connection is between just the computer systems at the banks and the central CAT system, so nobody else can get in there or mess with those payments or anything.
The CAT system will reduce costs of transaction, improve efficiency, and provide necessary support for economic development, support efforts to reduce fraud and corruption, ensure that all citizens have access to modern, convenient, efficient, and safe means of making and receiving payments. At the launch, representatives from the major commercial banks showed their support and appreciation for the system, stating that it makes their jobs a lot easier.
Well, they absolutely are really pleased with what CATS has made available. It takes away some of the manual processing, and it will enable them to offer more services.
More specifically, some of the major benefits of the CAT system include: banks can now offer faster, safer, and more alternatives to checks. Where checks continue to be used, processing will be faster, less open to fraud, and more accurate use of check images. Government payments can be faster and less open to fraud. Urgent payments will go through guaranteed and extremely fast, so same-day payment and received value will be a reality. Check processing will be faster and more accurate, with electronic processing using imaging technology rather than paper, and with reduced processing time of 1 to 2 days, amongst others.
After the break, we look at the change from using a fixed exchange rate to a floating exchange rate. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Papua New Guinea is experiencing a business boom in almost all of its provincial towns. Thus, it is important business owners and local producers have a fair knowledge on how much they will earn when their products are exported to other countries. In this segment, we focus on the value of the PNG Kina against mother currencies like the US and the Australian dollars, and the change from using a fixed exchange rate to a floating exchange rate. Currently, the PNG Kina is valued at less than 38 toya against the US dollars, and the drop in world oil prices may force it to depreciate even further. But what's important for local business operators to remember is the amount of money earned from their produce is largely determined by world prices.
The method of conducting business in Papua New Guinea differs very much from other Pacific Island countries. Whether it's starting up a new business or managing an operational industry, most local business operators have a similar way of running their businesses. The only similarity all business operators and local producers around the world face is that all their exports and imports are determined by only one major criteria, that is the world prices and how much their currency will be buying against US dollars. In a more local context, Papua New Guinea has been using a floating exchange rate since 1994. This means our exchange rate is determined on the supply and demand of PNG Kina by other world currencies. In an interview with Bank of Papua New Guinea Governor Loy Bakani, he clarified that PNG has a floating exchange rate, thus it has created fluctuations.
We were in debit, like meaning that we owed people outside of Papua New Guinea money. So we went to negative reserves. That is why at the time Central Bank decided with the government to float the currency, float the Kina. So as it is now, it's still a floating exchange rate.
His comments follow concerns raised by numerous businessmen on the fluctuation of PNG Kina against foreign currencies. He said unlike having a fixed exchange rate, the concept of understanding how a floating exchange rate is calculated depends on a number of factors. But Bakani is confident that though the 2015 government budget reflects a deficit, it will not have a direct impact on the Kina value. Following the 2012 elections, it was decided that the 2013 and 2014 budget would see the government implementing a deficit with the hope to provide opportunities for economic stimulus. This means PNG will be seeing budget deficits until 2017, as the government is expecting new sources of revenue and growth to commence in 2018.
So if there's more foreign currency, demand for foreign currency, then you will see the Kina going down, okay, as it is over the last few months. If there is plenty of foreign currency in the market, here in Papua New Guinea, coming to Papua New Guinea, you will see the Kina going up.
But the idea to change the exchange rate from fixed to floating came in 1994 during the Chen government. It was decided by the central bank because PNG was experiencing a major deficit. This deficit was the result of government spending, mainly on consumable imports.
In 1994, we had a fixed exchange rate. Kina is fixed to a US dollar or a basket of currencies. That was what we have at the time, since independence. That exchange rate is fixed. Because it's fixed, we have to use it to use our reserves to support it all the time. Our reserves, our foreign exchange reserves. Then came a time when the government was spending a lot, and where that money went, it went overseas. So companies were demanding a lot of foreign currencies, and central bank provided that foreign currency from our reserves. That's when both the government was running a very high budget deficit at the time, prior to 1994.
However, the Kina value is still depreciating due to US dollars recovering in the international market. Though the overall value of Kina continues to fall, local producers are encouraged to export their commodities as it will be more competitive internationally. During the presentation of the 2015 government budget last year, Treasury Minister Patrick Purides revealed that on average the Kina value has depreciated by 8.3% against US dollars and 3% against Australian dollars. But this depreciation has been justified by the national government's overspending on the construction phase of the liquefied natural gas and the state's key priority areas like education, health and infrastructure developments. The depreciation is attributed to higher foreign exchange outflows for import payments and repayments of foreign loans and dividend payments. The current exchange rate is now at 0.3795 against US dollars, recording a depreciation of 0.0335 toya. This may seem quite low, but already ordinary citizens are feeling the pinch of inflation through the high cost of living. Despite the quarterly reports from the central bank stated a fluctuation from 5 to 7%, the annual inflation rate for year 2014 remains at 5%, with a gross domestic product of 5.9%.
It's basically in terms of, one is in terms of prioritizing, that they have to, and they have systems there in government to ensure that what they budget for, they spend, not to spend over the, make more commitments well over the what they budgeted. So it's by law, they cannot go over, if they want to spend more or increase the deficit, they have to go back to Parliament again.
There are already measures put in place by the central bank on all commercial banks to stabilize the value of Kina, and this includes the imposed trading ban.
And now on to some news bites. Air New Guinea CEO Simon Fu says despite the global drop in aviation fuel prices, the levels in Papua New Guinea are still high compared to other countries. Fu says the continuous drop in fuel prices has created a fuel surcharge, and Air New Guinea will be reducing airfares for both domestic and international flights. He said up to 500 PNG Kina will be reduced from international flights, depending on the routes, and at least 100 Kina for domestic flights. This will be the second time Air New Guinea is reducing its airfares. The 2015 Pacific Games is a windfall for business in Papua New Guinea. The Games have encouraged public-private partnerships through business opportunities for many Papua New Guineans. To date, over 200 local Papua New Guinean companies have been engaged with the 2015 Pacific Games.
Pacific Games will greatly benefit the business community. In fact, it is already benefiting businesses through contracts for preparing the facilities for the Games. For the construction industry, the Pacific Games has provided the perfect opportunity to harness public-private partnerships, with the government spending 1.5 billion Kina on the construction phase alone.
Since the Games started, it has employed nearly 20,000 people, which is from the construction sites to the Pacific Games Authority to the subcontractors that provide services to the venues committees and so on. It's basically a 360 approach where everybody benefits from the grassroots right up to the small business enterprises.
Already 51 million Kina had been shared with the business community for work for the Games. These business opportunities and partnerships will go towards supporting the Games in Port Moresby.
Games provides an opportunity which is just tremendous for the development of business here in Papua New Guinea. In many instances, we're requiring either volumes of product or types of product that are perhaps not readily available here, which provides a fantastic opportunity for local businesses to be able to upskill their workforce and to develop joint partnerships with people.
Chief Executive Officer of the Games Organising Committee, Peter Stewart, said the Games will encourage business, trade, investment and tourism and will complement Papua New Guinea's economy in 2015.
The point of view of tourism, we're going to have over 4,000 people, visitors to our shores, coming, having a fantastic times during the Games, and then going home and being personal testimonials to the value of coming to Papua New Guinea, how friendly our people are, how wonderful the sites are, all the amazing things that you can see and do. In addition to that, we're going to have nearly 300 international media who are going to do exactly the same thing.
With 1,500 hours of broadcasting, the Games will also showcase the communication infrastructures in place and Papua New Guinea's capabilities of broadcasting an event of this scale.
Bank South Pacific has started work on its acquisition of Westpac operations in Samoa, Cook Islands, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu and Tonga. BSP Group CEO Robin Fleming and Chairman Kostas Konstantinou have been visiting operations in those countries to ensure smooth transition of services. Fleming says a green occupation of the Pacific should be expected in about 4 months' time, when BSP's acquisition of Westpac in the 5 island nations is completed. He said across the region, BSP will continue to look at other opportunities that may be presented. But first and foremost, activities over the next few months will be the transition and integration of Westpac into BSP, the full rebranding of that operation as people will now see a lot more green across the Pacific. Westpac has retained its operations in Fiji and Papua New Guinea, saying it reflects their desire to increase focus on their growth plans in these 2 larger markets, where they have seen a strong history. A transitional services agreement signed by Westpac and BSP will ensure that there will be as little disruption on the day of the switchover for customers. Current Westpac staff in the 5 countries involved will be absorbed by BSP. BSP bought the 5 Westpac operations for 125 million Australian dollars. Fleming says while this is a big investment, the returns will come over time, similar to when the bank started operations in Fiji. And that's all we have for you tonight. For more business news, if you would simply like to view this episode again, visit EMTV online at www.mtv.com.pg/business, or to join the conversation, like our page on Facebook for daily business news, or follow us on Twitter at Business PNG using the hashtag Business PNG. Until next week, have a pleasant evening. I'm Leanne Gerari, and this is Business PNG.